I always wanted to have things that other people didn't have. Yeah, that's the sort of thing that I'm interested in, and I don't have a good explanation why. Like, that's that picture that had been through a hurricane. If you see a picture of the original one, it's not very exciting, but something about it, having that transformation makes it so much more interesting to me. We like to just play with our
there's a lot of
space,
compulsive rearranging.
We just always feel like if you have to have things or want to have things around, why not have fun and weird things?
Sometimes we spend a whole day here together, and sometimes I might be here early in the day and then we overlap for like a minute. People often ask if it's like weird to work in the same space. No. I don't know. I mean, it's also like big enough, like we're privileged to have this huge space, so we have our own room to spread out. Like, I don't think we bother each other at all. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I don't know.
It's nice to have someone you're comfortable with and trust to be like, what do you think of this?
Yeah, that's
what do you
true.
think of?
We'll both be like, hey, come look at this brush stroke I did or something. And then, listen to what the other person says or not. I like to make like individual object stamps that can stand alone and then become part of like a larger composition. So they're like part of like a library of like images. And then I just have fun like thinking of different combinations and compositions for all those like individuals. I usually lay everything out here so I can see it and then pick what I want to use, roll the ink here, and then do the actual printing over here. And I also paint those right there and like reach over my plants, which is probably not the best system. Unfortunately, my trinkets and plants are very important to me, so they can't be moved. Also, I don't know how I ended up with so many dinosaurs. It just happened one day.
Of the ones that she has right now, I think I'm drawn to the darker ones, like...
Which one? The dark one?
Yeah.
What do you like about it specifically?
Yeah, I
that
don't...
one's really different for me.
Really can't think of what anything to...
I tell myself they're not done because I didn't spend much time on them and they're so different than my other work, but I also really like them. So it's like you make these rules for yourself. And I'm like, I don't know, I have this compulsion to like paint and paint and paint until there's like something in every square inch. But I don't know, maybe I should step back.
That was a photo of a Black Friday rush to grab something. And I just like that.
I like those hands in the right-hand corner.
Yeah, the chaotic energy. When I'm alone and thinking about the things that I enjoy and what I'm doing, it all feels very natural and articulate in my head, but when I try and explain it, it all becomes a jumbled mess. So it's just sort of embracing that and accepting that, and that's a lot about what my paintings are. It's just all of these different fragments and pieces of things I see or read or hear, or the way those things make me feel. Then taking those pieces and just jumbling them together.
We met at an art gallery.
I saw Allison across the room taking a picture of one of my paintings with her BlackBerry.
A nice extrovert introduced us. Seriously though, like I don't know if we would have spoken to each other. Like
Yeah.
even when they didn't introduce us, we were like, hi, nice to meet you. I think we're probably both more like outgoing now than we were then. Describe Matt. He's just himself and is always pursuing being himself, and I think that's really important in a person. Also, he's funny, and that's really important to me too. And he thinks I'm funny, and that's important to me too. Like, honestly, when I think about my values, like, humor is, like, very high on the list. I've been trying to embrace that more with my work. The thing about saying that you're funny, I think once you say, oh, I'm funny, or that was funny what I said, the magic is gone and you're not funny anymore, but I'm always desperately really hoping that people think I'm funny. So, now you know my secret.
She has so much more natural creative ability than I do. It's sort
Wow,
of,
okay.
It's true. I don't know why. I think it's just that natural ability. It's less natural for me and more pursued.
I don't know, maybe in some contexts, like, if somebody was like, draw this character doing this, like, I really like illustration, so I feel like I can sort of do that sort of thing. And maybe you're more honed in on, like, your specific art style, which is also good.
She might have more patience than I do. I'm kind of impatient, too.
I think I'm pretty impatient, not that it's a
I
competition.
don't know. I think we've both been making things most of our lives.
Yeah, there wasn't really a time that I wasn't making things. Probably true for you too. It's just always been there, is the main interest. I guess I've kind of always, like, the end goal for me has always been working for myself in, like, a creative sense. Like, honestly, I thought it would happen a lot later on in life, so I feel pretty lucky that it's happening now. I kind of envisioned, like, a phasing out of the job and a phasing in of the artwork, but then it happened really abruptly, and I just, like, jumped right in, which, I don't know, maybe that was good.
That sort of forces you to do it.
Yeah, it's like
in
you
a
have
good
this
way.
jolt of, like, adrenaline to just, like, get going and, like, get all your ducks in a row. It forced me to do things I've been putting off, like learning about taxes and, like, the less glamorous stuff. Sometimes it's like, oh, I'm an artist, but, like, when am I making art? Like, I want to spend more time making art and being weird and playing. Like, that's the root of it. And yes, I'm really grateful for my life and, like, what it's turned into, but striking that balance between, like, running the business and, like, being an artist and, like, maintaining, like, the child who wants to make art is, like, an ongoing balance. Yeah, I've thought about this more now that my income is more closely tied to my art, and I feel like it's, yeah, what I want to be doing no matter what. It's just that maybe if in an ideal world where money wasn't such an issue, I wouldn't be hustling as hard or cranking out as much or whatever. Like, I wouldn't care about marketing, but I'd be doing the same thing, I think, on, like, a more low-key scale. Yeah, I definitely kind of see, like, separate entities within my, like, creative life and business, even though I like to think there's, like, a cohesiveness between them, but, like, I definitely think of my paintings and original art separately than, like, the products that I design, and I market them differently too. I feel like, I don't know, paintings are more of, like, a place to play, and I don't rely on them to pay bills, so it's a different brain space. Yeah, it feels separate, but also, like, part of the whole. I guess I've always liked trying a lot of different types of media and having my eggs in a lot of different baskets in that sense, which I think has been to my benefit now, where it's my main source of income, like having my eggs in different creative baskets, and being able to like draw from all these different things that I do and like combine them together into a viable living.
My background is like graphic arts, graphic design, and printing, sign making, embroidery, screen printing, like text as a graphic object instead of just text. That's had a big impact on the way that I create. Sometimes I start with a simple image or text, like block letters, but sometimes it's just random lines and marks, and I don't really have it's just however I'm feeling that day or whatever my idea is for the painting. But what's the same about those starting points is that everything just builds off of that. And it's interesting for me to see, just depending on that starting point sometimes, you'll find it's easier, or I find it's easier or more complicated to resolve the painting. Sometimes everything just falls into place immediately, and sometimes I paint over a section 10 times. My usual paintings, I sometimes struggle wondering when it's finished and what I should do and what I shouldn't do. And those split composition paintings where they're much more planned out and intentionally kind of pared down. And I know exactly what each step is going to be, and I know exactly when it's done. So that informs the other work, and the other work informs those. And it comes from a lot of different places. I'm always very happy when I finally get to paint, but it also is a channel for a lot of frustration and anxiety, and but being able to channel those things, makes me happy to be able to put it into something. It's for me, it's you hope that someone will be able to connect to it, but it's ultimately for me.
Well, I feel like that's part of the draw, is that it's open to interpretation, so it's fun to see people pick up on different things or like different interpretations of your paintings. It's like endless. There's probably so many things that could be said, but I guess the first thing that comes to mind is patience and diligence. Things don't happen overnight. I think it's, especially in the age of like the internet, sometimes you do see things happen overnight for people, and then you compare yourself to them, and that's really dangerous. Like, you just have to focus on yourself and being authentic to what feels good to you to make, and just keep working and trying different things. Yeah.
You said everything I was going to say.
Okay.
Make lots of work, try a lot of different things.
I think in the beginning you might say yes to more things just to try them out, and then you might learn it's not for you, and that's okay. It's definitely true for me.
I think it's really important to learn art history and see what people have been making.
And also connect with other living artists. Just don't close yourself off to what other people are doing or have done. Yeah, and again, like I keep going back to the internet, but especially for younger people or people that are like on the internet a lot, just comparison is really dangerous. I mean, I definitely do this, but like I tried not to do it. and it's so easy to do, but it's like very insidious and it doesn't help you at all. Just, I don't know, the more you can build your sense of self and confidence in like what you're doing and not what other people are doing or you should be doing, like the shoulds can really get you down. It's also like, I mean, it's hard to accept this truth when you're an introvert, but like I think you have to go out and meet people and make connections. I mean, I think it's important no matter what, but especially as an artist, I feel like that's like, you have to do it. You can't be an island.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, we've been so lucky to meet tons of nice people and see lots of good art. We've spent time in other places and we visited other places, but like Gardiner is kind of perfect and central Maine is amazing and Maine is amazing and
It's really
like it's just a
exciting.
good place to be and that's why we're here.
It's an exciting time to be an artist in Maine. There's
Yeah.
so many amazing artists doing cool things, and
Yeah, it's like a badge of honor just to be in the same state as like a bunch of really iconic artists from the past and from the present.